Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 31st of April, 31st of March, year of our Lord 2020-2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, aka Motown Noah. No April Fool's jokes for you guys. It's not April 1st, but this would be the only chance that I would have to do it before April 1st actually happens. I'm not that kind of guy. We did that one time on the Bonnie Cardigan show. I think it was the first year that the show existed. On April Fool's, we said that the show was ending. And then, rug pull, pump faked on everybody. The show was not actually ending. We went for like 2.5 more years. And then one day, James uploads an episode, hey, the show is over. I think for the first 30 minutes, people thought he was just goofing. No. No, the second one wasn't a pump fake. He put that shit up. Despite how I've started today's show, I'm actually in a horrible mood. I'm bumping the table underneath because I'm very fidgety right now. Because, to be honest with you, I don't even want to be recording this. I'm in such a horrible mood. Michigan State got knocked out of the tournament, lost to Auburn in the Elite Eight. And, it's just got to be one of the worst feelings in sports. Losing in March Madness, it's just got to be one of the worst. Like, I'm sure, if you talk about it through the lens of March Madness, not making the tournament when you're like a team on the bubble, I'm sure that hurts. To be honest with you, very subtle flex here by me. What was this, 27 years in a row that Michigan State has made the NCAA tournament? I turned 27 this year, dog, for real. My whole life, I've never not known Michigan State playing in March. This has literally been my entire life. So I don't know what that feels like. But I do know that once you get to the big dance, it's just got to be, no matter how you lose. If you're a 2 seed, you lose to a 15. If you're Virginia, you lose to 16 UMBC, something like that, right? That's one thing. But it transcends what the circumstances of the actual game was. It just sucks when you get bounced, right? Now, I will say that when you lose on the first weekend, the first day of the first weekend, as a 2 seed, that is definitely a completely unique sense of pain that is not really the same when it's like a 7 versus 10, something like that, excuse me. And honestly, how interesting would that be if I just punted on everything that I was originally going to do to start the show? What if I did a very soft power ranking of that's the worst feeling in sports? It's got to be the worst thing in sports. Where would you really put March Madness? Losing in March Madness, blanketed, right? Like stripping it of its context of, did you lose in the Elite Eight? Did you lose in the Final Four? Did you lose as a 2 seed to a 15 seed? Stripping it of that context, just losing in March as an all-encompassing thing, that's top 10. It has to be. And then what else would there be? I mean, I'm really going to be doing this off at the top of my head. The first thing that comes to mind is probably the most obvious one, which is just like you have a player in any sport, you have like a lifelong player. You have gone to war for this guy time and time again, and then for whatever reason, you part ways with that player. Is it important to differentiate those, by the way? Like, as a Detroit sports fan, there haven't really been that many departures in my lifetime that were like reality shattering. Matthew Stafford was the most recent one, right? You talk about a guy, you spend years being like, no, you don't understand how good he actually is. But he plays on a bad team, and so that was always a reflection of him as a quarterback, even though we as Lions fans knew that it was not, actually. And so that breakup it's not that it wasn't hard, it wasn't ugly is the important thing. It was just kind of like, it's time. We got to do something else. The Patricia years were finally over. In comes Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, and they're like, we're going to figure something else out. And they go get Jared Goff. And the way that it's worked out is, we've covered it on the show, but it's one of the more win-win trades that we've seen in American sports, like, since the turn of the millennium. Seriously. Like, the Rams immediately won a Super Bowl in year 1 with Matthew Stafford. Immediately won the Super Bowl. And then it took the Lions, a year and a half to be like, oh, wait, this works. We're good. And now the Lions, they were just the 1 seed in the playoffs. Oh, well, hey, babe, maybe there's another one. Just derail everything, the little tangent I was on. There's another one. When this kind of goes in with the March Madness thing, but specifically about the NFL, hypothetically, if I just make up a scenario, if you're maybe the best that you've ever been, literally ever in anybody's lives, you're the 1 seed in the NFC, and you lose the first game that you play in the divisional round at home you're playing down to somebody and you just kind of let it happen and you lose. That's probably got to be up there. I'd put that at maybe number 2, softly number 1 for now. Back to what I was saying. Is it different when the breakup isn't ugly versus when it's like Damian Lillard and it got ugly? I don't think that's a good example to be using here. Or like LeBron and Cleveland is the first time is maybe the better example here. The more recent history of like a city just completely rejecting a guy as soon as this thing happened, right? Did not happen in Dallas. It shouldn't have happened in Dallas. Everybody was still mad at Nico Harrison. Did you guys see that video that came out about like one of those medieval, I don't know, like carnivals or festivals that happened, that happened all over the country? Well, there was one that was happening in Texas. I don't know. Motherfuckers were just trying to like watch some people joust. And randomly, a Fire Nico chant breaks out at this medieval renaissance, this renaissance festival. It's maybe what his preferred nomenclature would be. Fire Nico. They're doing it. Dudes are getting hit with batons on horses. Fire Nico. He was always the public enemy there. It wasn't about Luka. But actually, there's another pain in there too, right? Is when in the middle of the night, the franchise that you root for just decides we're doing something completely different. It's tough to use that one as like, because it's such a specific pain. Not necessarily. Isn't that what happened with what was it? The Browns? They moved overnight. And what was the team that moved in the middle of the night? Was it when they were the Baltimore Browns? It was something like that. Someone knows very loosely what I'm talking about here. What's another one? On sort of the reverse end of the spectrum, I think a lot of the examples that we're using here are like when you're as successful as a team or with a player, and then like suddenly that goes awry. How about when you don't win a game, or like you're just the worst in the absolute league, right? So whether it was the Lions in 2008 going 0-16, or even the Pistons a season ago being the worst that they've ever been, right? The worst team since the Bobcats won like 7 games about 15 some odd years ago. When you are just the bottom of the barrel, the worst, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you know that it's not going to change anytime soon, right? I kind of want to revisit, actually, the whole star player leaving thing and, like, the different nuances of that. I feel very privileged that I've mentioned this briefly already, but, like, as a Detroit sports fan, there really hasn't been that many. It just hasn't been something that we've really come across. Miguel Cabrera got to Detroit and was like, they're going to keep paying me and I'm going to keep being the best hitter in baseball. There's literally no reason for me to leave. And we overpaid him for the last like 7 years of his time in the MLB because he was Miguel Cabrera and you had to do it. And for what he meant to the organization and what he meant to the city and what he meant to the state. It was like, he was always going to be here, right? You think about the Red Wings, lifers. They're always lifers, right? Like for me growing up, it was like Lidstrom, Zetterberg, Cronwall. Like these are guys that they didn't really come and go that often. You know what I mean? The Pistons, and this is where it starts to get a little bit like, oh, there's another one. So we had Matthew Stafford. It's Chauncey. It was the Chauncey trade that I think. Now, to be fair, I don't remember at the time because I was like 10 years old. I don't know what was happening I don't know if that was supposed to happen, or I still to this day, because like I refuse to go back and like revisit that point in history when the Detroit Pistons, after making 6 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals, we're trading Chauncey Billups. We're trading him to Denver, and we're getting Allen Iverson. As a kid, I did not care that we got Allen Iverson. I cared that we traded Chauncey, and I for years swore off the Pistons because as a 10-year-old, I felt so betrayed, right? So I'm imagining 10-year-olds like who just experienced the Luka thing, right? Like you create generational trauma as fans, well, for the fans, when you do something like that. For years, I was a bad customer to the Pistons because they traded Chauncey Billups, and it was something that I just couldn't stomach. So, like, in my life, other than those two, there hasn't been with the Tigers. I mean, stuff got weird with Prince Fielder. I don't remember if he sort of behind the scenes asked for a trade, or if somebody slept with his wife. I remember that happened. Was it Johnny Peralta? I don't remember if it was him. Somebody slept with the woman that Prince Fielder was with, and it caused a rift, and then suddenly Prince Fielder is in Texas, and we traded for Ian Kinsler, And then Prince Fielder, while he was playing for the Rangers, was wearing like number 84. It looked bizarre. What a fever dream those Rangers years were for Prince Fielder. He breaks his neck at some point, and he's wearing a brace, and then that was just kind of it. And it was like, wow, Ian Kinsler. If Ian Kinsler had showed up in Detroit, I mean, even 2 years earlier, could you have imagined? Just the difference. It was the timing of it. Was such a weird trade. Prince Fielder for Ian Kinsler. I don't think that counted. Maybe the Verlander trade, but we were expecting it. It was time, and it wasn't really this. It just didn't feel, it's not the same thing. I just don't think it's the same thing. And so you lose a star player. I just wonder if there's a worse feeling. Because, like, Bucks fans you guys want to be adults for a second? Bucks fans, I think it happened. I think we crossed the threshold of like, fuck, it's over. It's over. And it hurts. And it's something that you don't want to acknowledge until way too far after it's already happened. Right? But I think it's time to be like, and I don't even think it was the Damian Lillard blood clot thing, by the way. Which, Jesus Christ, will anybody please ask him, which vaccine did you get, Damian Lillard, so I know if I'm in the clear or no, I'm just kidding. I don't want to just... I'm not throwing in vaccine distrust in the middle of this whole thing. That was a goof. Damian Lillard gets blood clots, and oh my God. I don't even think that was the moment that we were like, holy shit, it's over. I just kind of think it's been over. I'm not going to use the Chris Middleton thing as like the trade that they did with Washington. I'm not trying to use that as like I don't think that was really the turning point for the whole thing. But I don't know, man. If you polled Bucks fans a month ago and we were like a week or two removed from the trade deadline, they would have been like, holy shit, Kyle Kuzma. Can you imagine that this is actually working out in Milwaukee? Which, by the way, it was not a surprise to me. Somebody very notedly loves Kyle Kuzma on this program. It did not surprise me that he was playing well for a team that is good. He did that in the past. He won a championship with a team. He played really well for a team that was really good and was so good that they won a championship. It was not surprising to me. But I was very excited that other people were starting to see, yes, this Kyle Kuzma guy, not just a meme, not just a guy who wears funny sweaters. He's actually a capital H hooper. In the recent weeks following those first 2 weeks post-deadline and Kyle Kuzma getting Milwaukee, it's not quite the same story. It's not really the same. It's not really the same thing at all. And I'm just like, if you're Milwaukee, it's like, okay, so now the Dame thing is done, where it's not that the Dame thing as a whole, like him being in Milwaukee. I'm not saying that's done. I'm saying him being done for the season. Okay, so the season's done. No matter how, we'll make the playoffs no matter what, but like however this shakes out, it's just going to get weird. And I'm scared, Bucks fans. Here's what I'm scared about. I'm scared they're going to go out sad. And then the way that this whole Giannis to, wherever, pick a destination, wherever it ends up being, the way that rhetoric really starts to pick up is because they went out sad against whoever it ends up being, right? Maybe it's going to be the Knicks. I don't know. It's a bummer because you hate to watch. I don't want to really write the eulogy before it actually happens, so I won't say that part yet. But here's what I will say, Bucks fans. If you are somebody who is kind of maybe in denial about this thing being over and that the band is going to break up, I will say there's nothing to the fact that Giannis won when he did, because looking back on it, that was it. The Bucks winning in 2021, that was it. That was the window. That was it. That was their one shot to do it. And guess what? They did it. And not only did they do it, but they did it in spectacular fashion. Giannis had 50 in the closeout game. What was it, 2-0 that they were down in that series? And it was like, damn it. Chris Paul and Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, they're really going to do this? Record scratch, freeze frame. You're probably wondering how the Bucks got here. They're literally better. That's it. They're better. They've rattled off 4 wins in a row. The SWAT, that Giannis having seemingly the greatest block in the history of the NBA Finals, I think it was better than the LeBron chasedown block, the one that Giannis had on DeAndre Ayton. You have the Drew Holiday to Giannis lob. Listen, when the Bucks had to do it, they did it. Damn it, they did it. And so, if this is really it, if it's over, you look at the Bucks and their capital situation. It's just not a team that's built for sustained success. Like, you can rest easy knowing, if you're a Bucks fan, that if it is over, that this franchise truly did everything that they possibly could to make Giannis happy and to keep him around. Because it has not been infrequent over the last 6 years that there's little nuggets every now and then. Every now and then, there's just a little something that comes out. Giannis is a profile for fucking Esquire. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. As long as the team's trying to compete, then I want to be here. Or he does Vanity Fair, and he'll just explicitly be like, I want to be here until we suck. And if we suck, I want to go somewhere else. Every time that there was something that came out about Giannis, which Bucks fans would always refute, they would always be like, he doesn't want to go to Miami. He doesn't want to go to Miami. By the way, I was in lockstep with him. I always agreed with him. I always thought it was like manufactured bullshit that wasn't real. But then the Bucks would always do something that would give you the indication that all of those reports had a little something to them. Because at the height of all of those reports, you would hear like, well, not hear, I'm sorry, you would hear all the shit I was saying, and then you would, bam, randomly, Drew Holiday is a Buck. And you're like, whoa, out of nowhere, Drew Holiday is just suddenly a Buck. And you're like, wow, they really just took a big, okay, so those rumors must have been true, okay. And then you start to hear it again. I bumped the mic. I apologize if that picked up. You start to hear these rumors again, and then bam, out of nowhere, Damian Lillard is a Milwaukee Buck. There was just always something that the Bucks would do, depleting their entire pile of resources, by the way, in the process of just trying to keep him happy. And it got them one championship. It got them a championship. Giannis has been an MVP. He's been a Defensive Player of the Year. He's been an umpteen-time All-Star at this point. Like, it hasn't been for nothing. It just sucks that it's over. And cart comes for the horse, or whatever the fuck the saying is. Ice can't freeze on a stone river, whatever the fuck the saying is. I don't want to say that they're dead, and maybe they're not dead, but I'm just like, you talk about their capital. This is why I brought this up. How have we seen in recent years NBA teams who are in a capital hole, not like a capital H hole, but like a draft capital hole? What do? What every team has always done. And they're like, we can't compete anymore. We cannot compete at these prices and at these ages, especially. Because, like, hold on. Let me finish this point. I was going to bring up Brooke Lopez and ages and shit like that. We'll get there in a second, though. Naturally, we will get there. Just stay in the same car, Nick. Don't get into a different vehicle to make the same point. Well, the only way that they're going to be able to fix this is if they just start selling guys off, right? The treasure trove for Giannis alone, you send him to Oklahoma City, and it's like, I was doing a mental exercise, and I was like, if you're San Antonio, or how would I phrase this? If you're Oklahoma City, you're Sam Presti. Do you think if they called San Antonio and said, we'll give you all of it, all of the picks, we'll give you, name which ones you want, it could be 30 of them. You can have them. We want Wemby. Whatever you want. And we want Wemby. Oklahoma City is the only team that can make that kind of offer. They're literally the only team. To the extent that they can, they are the only team that can do that. Who says no? Am I being naive if I say that I don't think San Antonio I don't think they take it. Unless if you take the medical shit aside, maybe they know something about Victor Wembanyama and the blood clots that he has in his shoulders. I doubt it, right? But if there was something like that, if you take that out of the equation, do they turn down everything that Oklahoma City has? Because, like, you're not getting another Victor Wembanyama. From all of those picks, you might get some amazing players. You might draft a few Hall of Fame players. But you're not, you know what I mean? Where was I going with this? Oh, the capital thing. It's okay, so you do the honest thing. You can do that last if you want, if you really want to. Do you do the Dame thing instead and see if you can retool with him? Because that's the only thing that it can be. That is the only thing that it can be. If you're Milwaukee right now, is if you're like, we need to do whatever. If they're still committed to keeping Giannis around, which we have publicly been given no reason to believe that will not be the case, do you say it has to be Dame and we have to see what we can give him? Because like, who else is it going to be? It's not Brooke. I think Brooke is closer to retiring than he is playing for another team. There's no way. I honestly think if he got dealt, he would be like, fuck that, I'm retiring. I don't believe that. Bobby Portis, what are you going to get for him? I mean, who knows what the market on second round picks is these days? You've no barometer for it at all anymore. 2 seconds? You get 2 late seconds from like a team at the, you know what I mean? At the end of the, maybe, I don't know. That seems like a lot, but I don't know. Second round picks are weird. I don't know. Who's the young guy? Andre Jackson? I guess. Because that's another piece of this that you give the Bucks some credit for, is it's like how these teams create sustained success is like how well that they draft, even when they're winning championships. Dog, the Warriors drafted Kevon Looney like 10 fucking years ago. I cannot believe that he's still around. That blows my mind that he's just still with them. Straight up, he's still with them. People forget that the Bucks, people forget, they were the ones who discovered Giannis. Yeah, but like in recent years, even when Milwaukee got good, they were still drafting pretty well. Pat Connaughton, I don't know if we're really going to count him, but Pat Connaughton, Sam Merrill, it didn't really work out in Milwaukee because there was zero chance for him to get any run, but like we did find out later on that Sam Merrill is an NBA player. Okay, that counts. Jordan Nwora, yeah, he got me there. Good NBA, good player. I don't know if he's a good NBA player, though. Who's another one that I'm not thinking? Andre Jackson, we just mentioned him. I don't know. So, like, if they're able to get picks, I feel like I moved on from this point too early. From, like, Damian Lillard, I don't know. I'm throwing shit at the wall because I just don't know where else this comes from. Either you trade Damian Lillard. You cannot run this back. You can't. There's no way. There's no way. And isn't it kind of crazy? Well, hold on. Before I make that point. Is there anything else that I want to say? I'm going to try to think about this out loud. Is there anything else that I wanted to say about most devastating feelings in sports? I've spent 20 minutes talking about it. Surely I've covered all of them at this point. Okay, I just wanted to give myself a quick second there. I want to do an email. I was going to transition to the Wizards. I want to do a quick email. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. This one comes into us from Cooper. Cooper, welcome back to the show. Cooper, I think, is the one that he sent me an email last week and said for either the 150th or the 200th episode special that I should just talk for as long as I can, no matter how long it's, even if it's only an hour, 30 minutes. Maybe that's all it'll be. Maybe it'll be 3 hours. It seems like it would be, that's the only way that it would go. I mean, in terms of what I would do for that, like the numerical specials. Just talk for as long as I can. That sounds right. That sounds like something. That's probably what I'll end up doing. It's a good idea, Cooper. I believe that was you that sent it. If not, whoever sent that in is a fucking good idea. Anyways, the subject line. The Wizards don't deserve Cooper Flagg. And that was in quotes, by the way. Hey, Nick. Recently been seeing some discourse about Cooper Flagg and where he could be landing. The prevailing sentiment has been that certain teams don't deserve to get him. I am here to come to the defense of these teams, but mostly the Wizards. Are the Wizards hot garbage and one of the worst franchises in the league? Yes. You know who else is one of the worst franchises in the league for their entire history except for one 15-year stretch? The Chicago Bulls. The Bulls were the model franchise in all of sports for a decade. Why? Because they were well run? No, because they got Michael goddamn Jordan. Do the Cavs deserve LeBron? Nope. We have to view those franchises as something other than eternal losers now because they did get those franchise-altering players. This isn't basketball, but the Patriots have the most championships in the NFL and have never won a ring without Tom Brady. The only difference between the Bulls and the Wizards is that the Wizards have never gotten a Michael Jordan, except to break the email. They did. I'm sure you realize that when you wrote that and you know what I'm saying. You're right. It's just funny. It's like, the Wizards never got Michael Jordan, except when they did, except when they literally did. Back to the email. Why are the Spurs viewed the way that they are now? David Robinson, number one pick that they got through being terrible. 1 year, Robinson gets hurt. Spurs suck ass. They stumble ass backwards into Tim Duncan, and the rest is history. The second that era ended, the Spurs flopped around like a fish out of water until they won the lottery for, just the best basketball prospect in the history of the sport. Yeah, just to break this for a second, isn't it crazy? If you look at just like the Spurs history, like their record history, they were like good. The worst fucking team in the league, and that's when they got Tim Duncan. Good for 20 more years. There was literally 1 year that the Spurs, David Robinson, he's right, got hurt, and the Spurs won like 20 games, and they got fucking Tim Duncan. They got Tim Duncan, and then they did not lose for 20 more years. Insane. Back to the email. It's a long email, but I'm gonna plow through this. It's not as if the Wizards have been ruining top prospects for the last 10 years and can't be trusted with those guys. Their last period of consistent garbage play and top draft picks resulted in drafting John Wall and Bradley Beal. At his peak, John Wall was the best player in the East not named LeBron, and Bradley Beal was the league's best scorer for a couple of years. There's no evidence of the Wizards being unable to develop top prospects. Last draft was their highest pick since Beal, and it was in a notably bad draft class. And still, Alex Sarr appears on track to be a very good NBA player. Can I push back on the whole Bradley Beal being one of the best scorers in the NBA thing? Statistically, he was. He was. There were a few years when Bradley Beal averaging under 30 points a game. It had to have been like 3 years in a row, at least, that he was averaging 30 a game. By numbers, yes, he was, but I would just push back. I've just soured so much on his entire career. In retrospect, it is just sitting with me so poorly. We've chronicled it semi-recently on the show, so I won't do the whole spiel again. But I just think a guy that didn't want to leave somewhere because he wanted to make sure that he could sign a 5-year extension, like this cat and mouse game that we would play year after year with Bradley Beal and trade rumors and is he or isn't he? And more often than not, he fucking wasn't, and he was just going to stay there on a bad team and like bitch about it until he got extended. That was just, it was clockwork, dude. And then there was like one day when he gets a 5-year extension that he was like, I think I want to leave. I think I actually want to leave. I want to go somewhere else. Oh, Phoenix, a really good team that has Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and now they want me on their team. Guess what? He waived his motherfucking no trade clause and was like, what's up, Phoenix? What's up? And now they can't get him out of there. They literally cannot get him out of there. He's cool with the check. He's cool with coming off the bench. He doesn't fucking care about that. He's got his no trade clause. It's 75 degrees every day. His kids have started school. His wife is probably happy. Like, whatever. This shit is just a game to him. It's whatever. Was he the best scorer in the NBA? Again, by numbers, yes, he was. Back to the email. An argument I often hear is that teams who have been tanking for years shouldn't be repeatedly rewarded. Guess what, asshole? When a tanking team gets rewarded, they stop fucking tanking. The Wizards won 35-ish games and picked like 9th 3 years in a row. And still, they didn't totally botch those picks. Denny Avdia and Rui Hachimura are good NBA players. And then in parentheses, you said, by the way, is Denny Avdia a star now? What the hell has gotten into him? Close parentheses. Yeah, to break the email. What the fuck? What happened? Denny Avdia has been awesome this year. The whole thing for him, how long has he been in the NBA? Is this year 5? Year 5? That sounds right for Denny Avdia. I think he was the 2020 draft. And it was like, he's slow. He's just slow. That's it. Not really. This year, he hasn't really been that slow. Denny Avdia has just been awesome this year. You're completely right. What the fuck happened? I don't even think it's a Portland bump thing. I think it would be easy for some people who, I don't know, to be like, well, he's good stats, bad team. He's playing on the fucking bad team. Portland's not like bad, though. I don't know. They've had some games where you're like, I don't know. I think Chauncey does such a good job motivating their players. I think Scoot Henderson, like having a year where we're like, yeah, yes, I think. Yes. Okay, maybe. NBA player? In parenthetically question mark? Scoot Henderson. I don't know. They're not fun. That's not really the right word to use for them. Denny Avdia has definitely, he's contributed to that. So almost done with the email here, folks. The Wizards are the way that they are right now because they have not been given the quote-unquote reward for being terrible yet. The Wizards right now are no different than the Spurs, Bulls, and Cavs were before they got their hands on the guy who changed everything for them. And they're no less deserving of that opportunity than those teams were. I read this email. That's the end of it. Thank you, Cooper. I read this email because I thought it was really nice for a guy to say all of this shit about a team that he does not root for. I believe Cooper is a Sixers fan. I might be wrong. He's not a Wizards fan. Really? I would never. I don't know. Maybe I'd do it for Milwaukee. I don't know. I think you're right about all of that. I don't, like, nobody blames Nobody blames the Wizards for like what ended up happening in John Wall's career. That's not the Wizards' fault. That was not their fault. Okay, what's the problem with Cooper Flagg? What's the problem with Cooper Flagg going to Washington? I gotta take. Got an email about this the other day, and I've seen this take a lot. That the Wizards have the best logo in sports was what I think the email said. I don't think it's a good. I don't like the Wizards logo. I don't think they even have a good team name. None of it's interesting to me. Having the Washington Monument as your logo, that seems like I don't know. That's very A push-ish, AP US History-ish, AP US History pill. That's got the really Washington Monument. Cool. It's cool. Cooper Flagg this is a uniforms thing. I don't want Cooper Flagg to play for the Washington Wizards. That's gross. It's colors thing. I don't like it. You want to know the truth? You want to know the real truth behind my vitriol right now? Maybe I've said something like this before, but my entire life, the Pistons, the Magic, the Pacers, and mostly the Wizards have all kind of existed in like the same purgatory where it was like, yeah, every year you're like, yep, maybe might make the playoffs, be food for somebody in the first round. There's like one guy on there who's like always an all-star, Andre Drummond, Nikola Vucevic. But you're like, everyone's like, oh, it's the star of the team. It's like, yeah. It's not really, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, they're always the same team to me. And so, like, I've been very acutely aware of, like, what timeline every single team is on. So that's why watching the Pacers take off before us pissed me off. That's why watching the Magic take off pissed me off a lot. I don't want the Wizards to be up. Like, I don't want them to be up. I hate to be honest. Like, I hate to say it like that. Bathroom Tom, Wizards fan Tom, Hot Tom. Some of you may know him by his preferred nomenclature, Hot Tom. He's going to be crushed to hear this. I don't care about them. I think they have horrible culture. I think they've always, like very famously and historically, have always had bad culture in Washington. Regime after regime. Players after players. Washington has almost never had good culture. It's just, I'm not interested in it. Wow, the Jordan Poole show. It's so goddamn funny to me that they trade for Chris Middleton and like Marcus Smart. And they're like, wait, having veterans who actually know how to play basketball may work for us? This might work? Oh, we should have been doing this all along. We've been throwing the ball out for Bilal Coulibaly. The guy's like 17 years old. We should have had 33-year-old Chris Middleton this entire time? Fuck. Oh. Before that, before they had the five-head move to get veterans on the team who actually know how to play basketball, dog, it was the Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole show featuring Alex Sarr and friends and like Bilal Coulibaly, who's awesome. Alex Sarr, great, but it would bum me out. It would bum me out because at least if he goes to Charlotte, who's like in a similar, I think Charlotte's in a more distant, gross. Talk about culture. Those guys are actual losers. I don't think everybody in Washington is losers. I think everybody in Charlotte is a loser, though. Cooper Flagg going there, at least the uniforms look cool. At least it would be like the Cooper Flagg and LaMelo Ball show. Some funny shit would happen. There'd be some lobs thrown around. It'd be funny. Throw Miles in there, too. It's literally Lob City 2.0 with Cooper Flagg, Miles Bridges, and LaMelo Ball. Hook that shit up. Like, at least I'm watching something. At least there's something there. And here's the thing about Cooper Flagg. I think wherever he goes, I might get a jersey. I can't shake this feeling. And I'm including Washington. All of the mean shit that I just said about them. If he goes to the Wizards, I need that Wizards Cooper Flagg jersey. It's rare. It does not happen. This doesn't happen. I know you guys out there, you're going to relate to this feeling, right? It's just something about him. There's just always that guy where there's something about him. In any sport, name a sport. There's just that. There's just always, every few years, there's a fucking guy. If you know that they're playing in a game, you are going to drop everything and watch them. I got Cooper Flagg fever, dude. I can't stop watching him. It's something about players, I think, who don't look like they're trying, but they're better than everybody else on the court. And I'm saying this after a game that Duke just played against Alabama. Final score would not indicate that the game was close. Duke won by 20. There were moments that never really were fearful that Duke was going to lose. It was never really in doubt, but it got a little hairy at times. Well, when it got really hairy was in like the first 8 or 9 minutes in the second half. It was about 6 minutes. 6, 7, 8 minutes. Somewhere between 6 and 20 minutes into the second half, Cooper Flagg goes like 1 for 9. He goes on a stretch where 1 for 9. He's gotten swatted like all ball 3 times in 2.5 minutes. You're like, what the fuck is this? You just need to sit down. But like, even when that's happening, he's still impacting the game. He's still getting rebounds and he's still doing shit on defense and he's still passing the ball really well. He's just not hitting his shots. Dude, it's just something about Cooper Flagg. I cannot, wherever he goes, man, I'm super excited. And it's like, you also think about him through the lens of previous like first round or first overall picks in the NBA. And I think we're a little bit spoiled in recent years because of Victor Wembanyama and because of Zion Williamson, because those are two dudes that since LeBron, like there had not been the buzz, there had not been the hype surrounding them. Like just the dominance of that player was like overshadowing everybody else that was in the draft. We have in recent years been spoiled by that type of player in those two. But like, I'm taking Cooper Flagg over Zachary Richauchet. And I will give to Richauchet, I'll give him some credit. He's a way better shooter than I thought he just was. Not like was going to be. I don't fucking know. I didn't think he was going to be as good of a shooter as he is. So like, good for him. Dog, I'm taking Cooper Flagg. Yes, I will take Wemby. Before that, Paulo. Now, it's hard to look back on this, what we know about Paulo now, where it's like, holy shit, you might be a world eater. Honestly, you might be a world eater. Like, seriously. But coming out of the draft, I mean, Paulo was definitely the number one, not the consensus. He was not the consensus number one that year. People really liked to talk about how much he sweat. People still like to talk about that, honestly. I was thinking about that. Isn't it kind of weird that we don't really know that much about Cooper Flagg? I'm not asking him to go on Rogan, but like, do Old Man in the 3 or Young Man in the 3, whatever it is. Mind the Game Season 2 with Steve Nash and LeBron James, Cooper Flagg. Really? We can't don't know that much about Cooper Flagg. There's not that much out there about him. Before that was Cade. Am I taking Cooper Flagg over Cade? No. That's crazy. That's ludicrous. If I was objective, no. I still wouldn't do it. Before that, Anthony Edwards. I'll take Ant. Zion. If Cooper Flagg has the same career down to the number as Zion after 2019, it's like year 6 for Zion. If he and Cooper Flagg have the exact same injuries and everything, who do you think will have been viewed more positively? Because with Zion, I say injuries specifically because, like, with their frames, well, I don't know. Zion's kind of slimmed down. And the whole way that we have viewed Zion at this point, I think, has also, it's just so distorted, the lens that we view Zion through. Actually, there was an email about this, and so I want to pull this up, and this will be, this guy will probably have better words for it than me. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Okay, so hold on. I'm getting some news here. Dante DiVincenzo did something. Because my girlfriend was texting me. She said, big fight in the Pistons game. Brawl spills into the crowd. She sent me a screenshot. 5 players and 2 coaches are thrown out of the game after a fight involving the Pistons and the Timberwolves. She said Isaiah involved and maybe DiVincenzo. I don't know who started. But then I got an email here from Grayson. Grayson, welcome back to the show. DiVincenzo is a soft-ass punk. This dude sucks. Ban his ass from the league. Send his ass to jail. Shout out to Luka Garza. I'm going to leave all of this in the show. I'm going to see if I can find this. Pistons versus Timberwolves. The game is obviously happening right now. Okay, here we go. Big brawl breaks out. Is this bad podcasting? I don't know if this is. I'm leaving all of this in the show. And this counts towards the full hour today. We cover all the biggest stories. We cover them from all angles. The Detroit Pistons and the Minnesota Timberwolves just got into a fight. Can I show this to you guys? If I do like this. Can you see like this? Then I can't see it. So Isaiah Stewart puts up a little floater. He gets a rebound. Nothing, I don't know, maybe they're talking a little bit. So here's Dante. Puts a shoulder into Simone. I don't know. Okay, Stu gives him a little bump. I mean, seems justified. Oh, Stu's pointing. Is this bad podcasting? What is what? I don't know what. Okay, let's move ahead a little bit. So it looks like there's a little bit of a hip check. Okay, and then they get back to the game. Oh, okay, and then it starts popping off. Okay, what happens here? God damn, this show sucks. So Nas Reed will fake DHO inside. Ron Holland, clean strip. Chill out. Oh, whoa! Whoa! Dante DiVincenzo went ahead. Whoa! What the fuck? Whoa! Dante DiVincenzo inexplicably was at Ron Holland into a headlock.
This has been building on the last handful of possessions.
Okay. What is he doing? What is Dante doing? Is that Mike Brown in the scrum? We got Stu in there a little bit. All right, let's get a replay. Let's move ahead a little bit. Let's get a replay. Everybody's breaking it up. So, okay, Ron Holland, it's a foul. I mean, it's a foul, but it's not a hard foul. And he's pointing at what? And Dante comes in and he starts, nah, smoke his ass. That's crazy. That's crazy. And he puts Ron in that headlock. That's crazy. Ban him from the league. Ban him from the league. That's what people are saying. That's what people are saying in the Coping Hour Subs inbox. Grayson is saying this dude sucks. Ban his ass from the league. Send his ass to jail. I can't wait to see some more angles on that. I can't wait to hear about what happens in the post-game press conference. That was it, folks. We just covered the biggest fight of the night. Detroit Pistons versus Dante. What a little fucking fruit that guy is. What the fuck? Dante DiVincenzo. Talk about a guy I've fallen on my sword for a myriad of times in the past. Dante DiVincenzo over his career. Not at Villanova, but Milwaukee, Sacramento, Golden State, the Knicks, and now Minnesota. Now suddenly you're bitch made. Now suddenly you think that you can walk up to Ron Holland a bit. Like, Ron Holland will straight up kill someone. He didn't kill you there, but that was just because you caught him off guard. That's all that it was. But if, like, you guys, were like, it's some high noon shit with the ooh, 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 wah, 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 a tumbleweed going across to some shit, I'm not positive that Ron Holland doesn't kill Dante DiVincenzo, but it did not happen there. Yeah, maybe ban him. Potentially suspend. I would lean ban. Weird. Man, talk about something. I've never had my rhythm thrown off that hard by what the fuck were we talking about? It was the Zion email. Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about Zion. Oh, where is it? Oh, man, totally just threw me out of whack there. This one comes into us from Brandon. Sorry about that, everybody. Brandon, welcome back to the show, I believe. Subject line: the Zion Williamson grievance process completed. Hey, Nick, I just wanted to update you on my mental health as a Pelicans fan about Zion Williamson. I will outline my experience of the grievance process down below. You put a TLDR. How long is this? It's not long enough to need a TLDR. You're good, bro. Let's do it. Step 1, immediate shock. Denial. I couldn't believe my Pels finessed the number 1 draft pick and had a generational talent. Whether it's conspiracy or not, I don't care. I'm all in. Step 2, the pain of loss. Parenthetically, anger. Zion through contract debates we finally get our first taste, only for Zion to tear his meniscus in the preseason. Painful for him and I, but injuries happen. Unlucky. Step 3, adjusting without him. B.I., Lonzo Ball, and Steven Adams lead my Pels without Zion to a 5 seed in the playoffs. I'm thinking I would trade all of them for Zion to be healthy and to lead this team to the promised land. Step 4, depression. I see this talent battle is hard out versus the LA Lakers and LeBron, only to fall short 110-106, posting 40, 11, and 5 just to get injured in the dying seconds of the game, and is out for the rest of the series. Well, I think that was just one game, or did they have to play one? It was the play-in. Did they have to play one more after that? Back to the email. Step 5, acceptance. Zion could be a Hall of Famer, top 3 player in the league if he's at his best. But I have accepted that my Pels are cursed with NOLA voodoo. Nolan's voodoo. That was me. It was Nolan's voodoo. He will be traded to the Miami Heat and win a championship there. When he finally gets a ring, one of my biggest what ifs is if my Pels franchise. Hold on, I fucked that up. He will get traded to the Miami Heat and win a championship there when he finally gets a ring. But one of the biggest what ifs in my Pels franchise and maybe in NBA history. I want to mention something that you said at the beginning here, whether it's a conspiracy or not, that the Pelicans got the number 1 pick in the draft. You don't care. You shouldn't care. You should not care about that at all. I'm glad that you don't, that you have the presence of mind to be like, it does not matter how we got the pick. I don't fucking care. Also, it must feel really good if you're a Pels fan that you winning the lottery pissed so many people off that people are convinced that it had to have been rigged because there's otherwise no fucking way. There's otherwise no way. Looking back on it, what seems more rigged to people? I'm asking you at home right now. What seems more rigged to you? Zion or Victor Wembanyama? Because nobody saw the Pelicans thing coming. You'd be lying if anybody's like, oh, I knew it was going to happen. Okay, I'm sure. Nobody knew that was going to happen. They had just won 33 games. There was no fucking reason for them. They had a 1% chance. There's no reason for New Orleans. Nobody thought that was going to happen. The San Antonio thing was in the air. Everybody fucking knew that was going to happen. And then it did. It is nice, though. I don't know if it's nice. I don't know what this is. It's when you, like the Pistons, we got Cade. And nobody was like, rigged. Everybody was just like, that's fine. They can have Cade. It's fine. It wasn't generational enough of a player that people were up in arms that they did not win the lottery. You know what I mean? Zion, the grievance process. Yeah, I don't know. I do wonder how differently we'd be looking at last season that he played if, to your point, they don't lose that game against the Lakers in the play-in, because they should not have. Zion spends the whole season proving everybody wrong. Plays like 70 games. It is the most healthy that he's ever been. He looks the best and the most athletic that he's ever looked. Maybe in his entire basketball career, but certainly in the NBA period, last season that he played. And they get to the play-in, and to that guy's point, at the end of the game, Zion, non-contact injury, goes up in the air. I think it was his hamstring or his quad or something. He just pulled it or something, and that was it. And he was just out, and you were like, fuck, my God, dude, it just can't happen. It's just never going to happen if you're a Pels fan. That's like the takeaway. You're just like, it's never going to happen to us. It will literally never happen to us. It sucks so bad. You know, it was funny. It was a week or two ago. There were 2 separate guys who emailed me on the same day asking. About a month ago, we did the trial of Adam Silver, and both of the guys asked, do a trial of the New Orleans Pelicans. Completely different guys. They just sent in 2 different emails, but they wanted the same thing. I thought it was really funny. Now, I hate to say this. I don't care enough, and I don't know enough. Like, I don't think it comes down to anything more than, and I know Pels fans don't want to hear this, because I see Reddit get split on this all the time. I think it is straight up cursed. Like, unlucky. I think that's all that it is. I've seen, maybe it was somebody that emailed the show, was like, you got to look at the medical staff and the athletic trainers and shit like that. Top to bottom, as a fish rots from the head. And I'm like, I think you guys are just, it never works for you. Who was it that just left there? We covered it on the show. It was months ago. It was, is it Dyson Daniels that made the comment that was like, that place is actually cursed? He's like, I was dealing with injuries that I've never had before in my life. And then as soon as I left there and went to Atlanta, it had to have been Dyson Daniels. He was like, I don't deal with that shit anymore. Like, I'm completely fine. I had alopecia in New Orleans, and I came to Atlanta, and like, my shit is unpatched. Like, I feel completely fine. I don't know what happened in New Orleans. I have no idea. But I don't think it's over for Zion, because like, he lost the weight. Now, you could be one of those people who's like, well, he only lost the weight so that he could play in games, so that he didn't lose a bunch of money on his current contract and then get fucked on his next contract where they add stipulations where you can only hit these bonuses if you play in these amount of games. And then Zion's like, I'd just rather drink Mountain Dew. And then the Pelicans are like, well, then you don't get $25 million. And he's like, fuck. And so he hammers Ozempic and grows out a beard. So he's Ozempic and biotin, I imagine, are the 2 supplements that Ozempic is a supplement. I don't think this is a supplement. It's got to be a blood thinner, though. Ozempic. Got to be a blood thinner. It would have to be. Did you guys see the video recently that came out of Moriah Mills? God damn. Whoa. If you're not able to see my face and all you hear is me say, whoa, you're like, wow, guy, big Moriah Mills fan. No. Did you guys see that poor woman? I'm just like, it's not even, I hate to be the guy who's like, oh, you commenting on a woman's body. I'm just like, it just makes me sad. I'm like, you fucking hate yourself so much. I'm like, you hate yourself. You can't look like that. You cannot look the way that she does. Where like your shit front and back is like a shelf, but not like a, you know what I mean? Like it's not like a, oh, this is stacked as a motherfucker. Like no, it's like it's not cool, man. It's not real. But then you look at her and you're like, Zion. You're like, Zion. I can't get the joke out. It's just wild. I was excited. I was happy to hear from her, because we haven't in a while. It's been like a year plus since we last heard from Moriah Mills. So I was just like, I'm glad you're not dead. That's got to be the worst way that it ends with her, is she dies. She also kind of gave up on her 15 minutes of fame. Good for her. Good for her. She stopped getting fake tattoos of Zion's name on her face. And then stopped tweeting about him and like his porn addiction and his like, what she had a tweet. I don't remember what it was, but she tweeted something about like him just like his room just being littered with like Mountain Dew bottles. They're just like all over scattered all over the place. And I'm like, it's crazy. Like, I'm like, when he was doing that, when he was, I don't know, hanging out, making correspondence with Moriah Mills, he was like, what, 20? And so, like, yeah, you gave this kid a $15 million signing bonus. He's the number 1 pick in the draft. And, like, the guy just invites some over. But it's the most cartoonish sum that you could possibly imagine. And then she attempted to ruin his life. And I still remember why. I think it was just, she was just going on Twitter being like, you're fucking fat and I hate you. I don't think he got her pregnant. I don't think it was anything like that. Why was she mad? Why did she like come out? Was he supposed to be like, was it something about like an allowance or something that she was? I swear that was part of it at the beginning. The Moriah Mills timeline got so messy by the end. And she was just so high volume with the shit that she was posting. It was impossible to keep track of all of the information, first of all. And it's like, listen, I can't fucking litigate what is real here and what is not real and what is just you like lashing out and crashing out and just being mean to Zion Williamson on Twitter. I'm like, this guy was somebody, like, how long have I spent talking about this? I think about her a lot. I think about her so much. I think it's that people can talk about baby mamas and who was it? One of you guys was just commenting about this. The 2 players in the NBA have the same baby mama, and so when they go with each other, they get in each other's asses. It's a whole thing. It's a blind spot to me. I don't know anything about that. Matt Barnes and Derek Fisher, that whole thing that happened. Yeah. We covered that recently. We actually talked about that a couple episodes ago. Yeah, I remember that. Nick Young being recorded by D'Angelo Russell. Nick Young being like, I love cheating on my girlfriend. I fucking hate Iggy Azalea, and I love cheating on her. D'Angelo Russell just has that on video, and like that's kind of it. That one was pretty crazy. I'll put a pin in the Moriah Mills thing. That was pretty crazy. And that D'Angelo Russell survived that. We talked about that on the shoot around like 2 months ago, maybe. It is crazy to look back on the D'Angelo Russell thing and be like, wow, he came out of that like fine. I think him embracing it and owning it. But there was so much discourse. I remember the only thing that motherfuckers on First Take wanted to talk about when the D'Angelo Russell stuff happened, former players coming out of the work, oh, how are these people ever going to trust him again? How are these teammates ever going to trust him again? That didn't really seem like, maybe it was an issue internally and that was something that he really had to confront and that he really had to face. Surely somebody's asked him about this in recent years. D'Angelo Russell, I don't know, once a year I feel like it pops up on some fucking, D'Angelo Russell does like the Nelk Boys podcast or some bullshit like that. He does the fucking Schultz report and Andrew Schultz just asks a bunch, fucking hate that guy. I don't even want to talk about it. I fucking hate that guy. What's another story in the NBA? You guys were just doing an NBA episode today. Can I confess something to you guys? Do you do a trust tree? You guys have time for a quick trust tree? Taylor Jenkins got fired by the Grizzlies. You seen that? You heard about that? This is the trust tree. I don't have anything to say about it. I tried, dude. I was in the shower and I was like, put together 10 minutes on this, Nick. You can put 5 minutes. Put together 5 minutes on Taylor Jenkins getting fired by the Memphis Grizzlies. I can't. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so you get fired, you're in the, what are they right now? Like the 5 seed or something. They've been horrible ever since the All-Star break. They've not been good. And so you get fired 9 games before the playoffs even start, and you're like in a guaranteed playoff position. Your only response to that is, oh, something happened. Like something really bad must have happened. I don't know about you at home, but my first thought was like, so he's Ime Udoka. It has to be something like that. Something weird, like sex related, happened here. Because this doesn't happen. This timing does not make any goddamn sense at all. The only thing that I've read so far was that it's something about the assistant coaches and like the offense that they're running. It was something that he's running a different coach's offense. Rudy, producer extraordinaire Rudy St. Clair was very softly explaining this to me. And then I was reading about it on Reddit. It's just not juicy enough for me. Ooh, it's about basketball? He got fired because well, then it was just a bad basketball decision to fire him when you did. Something about Ja's usage and Ja getting pissed about something. And there's something about other coaches usurping Taylor Jenkins. I don't give a fuck about this. I don't care. Ja was like mad that they fired an assistant that he was really close to, like a tale as old as time, honestly. Something that actually kind of happened with Luka. It was a rift. They fired one of the, not like dietitians, but like athletic trainers or some bullshit that Luka was really close to. And that was sort of like one of the first dominoes to fall in like this is maybe a little bit of a rift here between Luka and Dallas. Sounds like that was starting to happen in Memphis with Ja. They fired an assistant coach, and he gave a shit about it, and I guess there was some friction there. I think up to this point, Taylor Jenkins was like the 4th, maybe the 5th longest tenured coach in the NBA. That's crazy. That's wild. And so if you're you're an NBA team out there, you need a coach. I don't know. What if you're like the Pelicans? You're like, Taylor Jenkins. What about this guy? What if you're Portland, and you're like, hey, I think we're done with the whole Chauncey getting mad and calling us losers thing. Even if it works, motivates the players. What if they're like, we want Taylor Jenkins? We want him. What about Terry Stotts? What the hell happened to Terry Stotts? See, this is why I can't do the segments, because I was like, how do I not talk about Taylor Jenkins anymore? Terry Stotts. What's going on with him? We maybe should have I just thought about this in real time. We talked earlier about the Bucks being dead. Surely someone's made this point before. This is just coming to me for the first time. I've never fucking realized this. Do you remember when Adrian Griffin got hired and Damian Lillard showed up in Portland? Oh, fuck. What was the timeline on that? That's the part I don't remember. Well, one of Adrian Griffin's top assistants was Terry Stotts. It was like, whoa. And then this is the part I don't remember. Did Dame get there and then Stotts left? Or did Stotts leave right before Dame got there? Either way, Terry Stotts getting hired and then leaving before the season even starts. Just for Adrian Griffin to get fired, was it December? It was a month and a half into the season. He got fired. I feel like as I'm saying all this out loud, this has clicked with millions of people. that Terry Stotts was sort of like a Stotts-Stradamus of sorts. And it just completely went over my head. Wow, impressed. What else do I got for you guys? We got White Lotus. Almost done with White Lotus. Got a new episode an hour from now that I'm taping this. By the time that you're hearing this, the new episode is out. Almost done with the new season of White Lotus. Michigan State. I didn't really give them a eulogy. I'm just bummed. I don't really want to fucking talk about it. Michigan State is out of the tournament. Just sucks because it's like now I don't want to watch anymore. And Cooper Flagg. Well, I don't know. This Cooper Flagg thing, dude. I'm like, I can't stop watching him. I'm addicted to Cooper Flagg. Dog, he's fucking sick. He's sick. He's nasty, and he's a freak. All of them. Check all the boxes. All of the above. but also check all of the boxes individually. Folks, if you're listening to this on Spotify, what was the question that I asked earlier? Was it something about, would you take Oklahoma City's entire treasure trove for Victor Wembanyama? You have to take that. That's so many picks. I think you're crazy if you don't take that. But also, like, again, you're not going to get another Victor Wembanyama. So, like, I don't know. It's a lot of chances to draft a guy that does not have blood clots. Something to chew on. Apple Podcasts. What's up? What's up? If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. A bit of a shorter episode for you guys today. Can I be honest with you why? Can I be honest with you? Trust tree. So about 20 minutes ago, as I was sitting here, I was like, I'm going to poop my pants. I was like, it's going to happen. I was like, you have 20 more minutes. I was like, don't pause this and then come back. I was like, don't do it. Just do the rest of the fucking show. I have been just trying to just talk and not look at the timer for the last 20 minutes. And about 60 seconds ago, I looked down and saw, once I started doing my little outro, I saw it was an hour. Guys, I'm going to poop my pants. I need to leave. I have to go. I can't keep doing the show. I can't do the show. Can't do it. If I do the show for 30 more seconds, I will shit my pants. Oh, fuck. I will catch you guys in the next one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control.